Two, one. Hi, I'm Jennifer Vatza. Welcome to my channel. Today I have Maggie Moon, the Left Hand Path Witch, with us today. And Maggie, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hey, I'm Maggie Moon. Thank you so much for having me here, Jen. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Um, let's see, what do I do? Well, I'm a little hermit witch that lives in the countryside in Canada. I have a little witchy online shop that is owned, operated, but it's a one witch initiative, and I do everything myself at this point still. Um, I create magical products, um, and I offer services, a wide variety of services, occasional classes, and things like that. I am Reiki healing, spells, magical items and implements, whatever it is that is up on the shop at the time is what I have to offer. I make things in small, little, powerful batches. So things tend to go really quickly, but don't worry, they come back in cycles. There's a time for everything. So it'll be back. I also
That sounds all vaguely familiar, minus the Canada part.
Yes, it does. We have a lot in common that way.
Yeah.
And like you, Jen, I also have a YouTube channel that it's been just a little bit over a year now since I've been on YouTube, which has been a lot of fun. I've made a lot of friends and things have just evolved.
It's like a quarantine social life.
Exactly, like the witches and wine that I have on my channel. I think it's definitely fulfilling a need. Right now I get to socialize with other witches.
Yeah. I mean, I started my channel maybe, I want to say it's gonna be a year, maybe in like March or April. I forget when I started it. Well,
yeah.
I mean, I've always kind of had a YouTube account, but the channel officially launched, I think, about a year. It's gonna be a year in March or late March, early April, I would say.
Oh, nice, awesome. And oh yeah, I was about to ask you a question. Just cancel that. I'm so used to being the one that's doing the interview part of it, but
I'm easy peasy.
my sister actually was the brains behind the whole YouTube channel thing. Like she kept pushing me to do it, and I'm like, nobody's gonna watch. Like I'm so boring, Like it, and she's like, no, you're not. Do it. People will watch. I'm like, no, I'll be embarrassed. Nobody will watch. And she's like, I'll watch you. So I did it to shut her up, basically. Mm-hmm. And I'm so grateful that I did.
It was starting a YouTube channel was on my endless big list of things to do for a very long time. Yeah. I had just I think the reason I kind of pushed forward with it then is because I had done a video with Orly Stewart on her channel around that time frame. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to launch a YouTube channel, now's a good time to do it. So definitely. Kind of like, for her to be able to kind of feed people to, my stuff and through her video and stuff. So that's around the time that I started my channel.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. And yeah, Orly is amazing.
So many amazing people in this community. It's really, I'm just, occasionally run into some bad apples here and there, but, by and far, like I always joke, like I'm like, there's way more love and light in the left-hand path and then black magic than there is in the actual love and light communities.
Oh, definitely. And that's something people really don't get, but it's definitely true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely relate since, we do make a lot of, so I don't do candles very often because I hate making candles. I might, maybe like 3 or 4 times a year, I'm like, I'm going to make candles today. And then I'm like, nope, not again.
Yeah, then you have your fill for the year.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, I'm done with that now. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I know when I started my business 3 years ago, I had done a lot of preliminary, like I'd taken a lot of certifications and classes. I was wondering, what kinds of courses and certifications and things like that you took as well. Because I think that's really important to have that background when you're coming into making any kind of products and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I started taking courses back in the 90s, herbalist courses and Reiki courses and things like that. And I was really into doing all that for a while. Then I started doing tarot readings professionally. I trained through, like, I did them for myself, but how to do it professionally for others. I trained under a witch who was very well established in the town that I was living in. And she handed her business over to me. And I noticed, because she had to move, it was a military town. I'm a military wife. So I noticed a theme with the clients. I was doing a lot of counseling in the tarot sessions. And I thought, you know, I really feel like I need better skills at this, because, you know, there's some things that I'm bringing up. And of course, people want more information on how to proceed, or community resources, or all these things. And I thought, you know, I need to be better prepared and suited for this. So I actually became a social worker. I shut down my business and
That's amazing.
Went into the field. Yeah. And then I ended up staying in the social work field for a very long time, and just doing readings and witchy stuff for myself and for my coven and things like that. Making products for just little batches for, you know, the people in the group and their friends, and just keeping it small. And it was all gifts, you know, and then took it from there. Then I had a need, okay, to really get back into the healing aspects of things for personal reasons. So I retook I took another herbalist course. I wanted to be like on top, fresh of every, you know, fresh with everything. Aromatherapy. I became a Reiki master specifically with a need. Before that, I took Reiki courses, but I wasn't a Reiki master. And voila, here I am offering all these things. And I have the social work background with that as well.
Amazing.
You know,
yeah, I mean, I can see that. And Lord knows, from everyone who's ever done a tarot card reading for me, and you all know who you are, much love. And yes, there is a certain level of that kind of emotional counseling that does come from, you know, because people are, you know, you're talking about, you know, major life changes, you know, obviously relationships come up a lot in tarot readings, or, you know, creative problem solving, or what the heck is going on in my life, you know, that people are coming to you with really big things. To be able to know how to handle some of those questions and things that are coming up in a really professional manner is
things would get really deep sometimes, and you can't just say, well, I don't know, I just see it, you know, you're on your own, kind of thing. It didn't feel authentic to me. So
I mean, see, I bring a lot of it because from having been on the other side of it and having done so many different types of therapy in my life, that like sometimes like there's things I can just bring in from my own personal experiences, having, you know, gone through different, like, it's like, okay, well, if you're having this kind of trouble, like I know this is getting a little off subject, but like one of the things that I found really helpful for me in my own growth process was narrative therapy. It's like thinking about the stories we tell ourselves. Like, you know, when you're looking at, you know, if you have self-doubt, it's my therapist, but well, who told you that? You know, who told you you're not pretty? Who told you you're too loud? Who told you you're too much?
Yeah.
As like we tell ourselves these stories, and we kind of fill in the gaps of, oh, I'm too this and I'm too that, because someone once said, you know, 30 years ago that I was, you know, pushy, so I'm apparently pushy, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that stuff stays with us, and when it starts to become that inner narrative, it's really counterproductive. So being in the social work training, you have to go through your own crap too. You know what I mean? Oh, sorry, my dog is still in the bedroom. I thought he was out. So that's how I, you know, going through the social work training throughout the years, that was a big thing for me, that internal narrative. And it's important to at least treat ourselves with the same courtesy that we we treat others that we care about.
And we're often so much harder on ourselves than we are with others.
Definitely.
I mean, I know I beat myself up over like the stupidest little things sometimes. I'm like, did I offend someone? Oh my God, this is horrible. And I'll just like, replay it in my head like, I'm the worst person ever.
Yeah, I know that feeling, and I try to stay on top of it.
But I don't have a good brain to mouth filter either, so.
Yeah, I have that problem sometimes, but yeah, I've learned over the years. I'm a little bit older than you, so maybe by time you hit 50, you'll
I'm pushing. I'm getting closer to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, people always think I'm about 10, 15 years younger than I am.
Oh, how old are you? You can cut this out if you want. If you don't have to tell me.
No, I'll be 46 in June.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah, you look like a little young spring chicken. So.
Yeah, everyone's like, really? I'm like, I can't fake that. If I wouldn't be lying. If I was lying about my age, I wouldn't be lying about it in that direction.
Yes.
But yeah, it's funny. I think like it's funny when you see like older like I don't know, black magic must be good for the skin because like I look better now than I did when I was 30.
Yeah, me too.
Like I think we're aging in reverse or something.
Yeah, it's the self-care and the rejuvenative.
Yeah, and also making your own skincare stuff and
Mm-hmm.
relaxation things. That's really helpful too. Because that's actually how I got into like making this stuff because I had like these terrible like my under eyes were awful like maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. Like it was just like red and puffy and the dark circles and like the cracked and I'm like I tried everything. Like I finally gave up after getting this little tiny like $50 tube of like some kind of fancy pants intensive eye repair cream and stuff. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make my own crap.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? Within 6 months, like I looked like an entirely different person.
Yep.
I was like, same here. To this.
Absolutely, same here. There is definitely something to this. So
yeah. I was going to ask because you mentioned doing the Reiki stuff. That was something like in my personal things. Like I'm interested in learning more about. Like, how would you suggest for someone who's never done Reiki before? Because I think like I have a natural ability to do like energy healing and transferring. I just kind of would like the formal kind. I'm a nerd. I like the formal education and to study things, to read all the books and watch all the things.
Me too. I've taken so many courses over the years, like a ton. And my husband's like, "You're taking another course? Why?"
I still have to finish half of them. It's like I'm like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I should finish that course that I started taking 3 years ago."
Yeah, well, it's just fun to learn, and I think you're curious like me. You're in a state of evolution and you always want to be improving. So that's amazing. If you're interested in learning Reiki, there's a wide variety of ways you can do it. I don't think in person right now is probably an option. That's, often what they suggest if you can. But I know some places are doing online because of the new living situation for all of us.
Yeah.
And you can go through and get your first, second, get all your degrees at once, some of them, if you wanted to. Those are really intense. So you're going to devote like, that set amount of time and go through it all and learn it.
So I've had distance Reiki done on me before, and I gotta say that it works.
Yes, it's amazing.
Like I was like, how does this work?
Well, it's energy. Yeah. We're only as far as our thoughts, right? When it comes energetically, we're only as far as our thoughts make us. That's really true. So it's, as we know, with magic and things like that, and we just, it's the same thing with Reiki and Reiki healing. Most of my clients now, well, all of them now, are distant healing, and people are always amazed that it can happen. They don't understand until they experience it how it can really happen from a distance, from very different countries even. And
yeah it's amazing. Cool. So what is your creative process like when you're making something new, or like what are you inspired by? Because I know for me, like sometimes the spirits will come directly back, hey, or like I have my infinite list of things to do, which is a very messy Google Drive folder. Like there'll be things like I've designed, like I was just thinking about the other day. I'm like, oh yeah, I designed all those planetary oils and incenses and elemental oils and incenses. I should get around to making those sometime.
Yep, yep. That happens too sometimes. Or I'll make like some candles and then they'll just sit there, or I'll make something and then it'll just sit for a while. And then you just, I'll feel that it's time. Like, oh yeah, it's time to do this. Sometimes the creative process is almost like a little mini possession in a way. So lately it's been candles, and it's definitely related lately, like very recently with Curridwin. She, and inspiration comes in a variety of ways, but this was through a dream where she told me to create. And when I woke up from the dream, like that sound was reverberating through my entire being, and I didn't know what I was going to create. I'm like, create what? And it was just kind of, one of those things, okay, we'll wait and see. And it's been candles. And sometimes I'll be intending to do something else, and then I'll be completely taken over and be making candles for the next 7 hours.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I have all these other things to make, but I need to make this other thing right now.
Yeah. And then you're just completely invested in that. It's like you're, this little mini possession going on where you're channeling this energy and you're doing the work that you need to do, and you get it done. And you have this amazing product at the end, and you feel a little bit tired once it's all done. You're like, whoa, I made like this many things and they're amazing. Now I must go rest.
Yes. So that struggle is very real.
Yeah. And sometimes out of need, I'll need to make something and experiment with different things, because I love having results. So, and I always experiment with oils and incenses and things like that on myself first, the bath salts.
What we were talking about. So I think it was a little bit with the creative process and
yes, and yeah, exactly. So sometimes it's a mini possession, or sometimes, and I'm sure you could relate, you have a spirit that just shows up middle of the night, middle of the day, usually middle of the night, and they're there until you do what they have asked you to do.
Yeah,
they'll be there.
A day making. The last time I made candles, it was because Shabyaza wanted candles.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the way it goes.
I'm like, do I have anything to put them in? Okay, I'm like looking through it. I found like some glass sort of little, sort of like vase container things, and like I had some like martini glasses that they ended up in and stuff.
Yep. Been there. Just whatever. What can I make a candle in? So I try to have, now that it's I'm doing this with a business, I have more of these things on hand, which is great. So when it happens, I can see it through. But yeah, that's usually the way it goes. How about you?
I'm all over the place with my creative process sometimes. Like I was saying before, I have my my infinite list of things to do. So I usually have like a big Google spreadsheet that I have like, my to track what restock things I need to restock and stuff like that. Then I have sort of like hey, here's new things you want to work on, and all that. And then I have like just random, sometimes, scribbled on pieces of paper, just
Nice.
like, oh yeah, I want to make these, or oh, these are selling well, I should add some more to that collection, because it's like I have a lot of, like, I do some like body oil type things, and I was like, oh, these have been selling a lot better like lately. I found like if you give them fancier names, they sell better.
Yes, and that's the thing where I need to amp up my game. I just I put so much into the mini possessions almost, and creating the products. When it's time to put them up, I'm so excited. I want to get them up so fast.
Yeah,
and I probably don't do it enough justice. Like I see some other people, their write-ups about stuff. I'm like, wow, I want to buy it. I don't even need that, and I want to buy it because it sounds so awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that. Definitely. Yeah, I mean and then sometimes I get requests from people like one of the things like I had released maybe over the fall an infernal perfume line because someone had liked my
Ooh,
Lucifer oil. I was
yeah,
like, oh, can you make a perfume version of this? And it took me a couple months to actually get around to that. And
yeah.
I did like maybe 6 or 7 different ones I like from Asmodeus and Lilith and
Nice.
Hecate and stuff like that. So I made all these perfumes and stuff. So sometimes things
Mhm.
come out of like other people asking for them, or it's like, oh, do you have this kind of oil, or do you have this kind of incense, or stuff like that.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
people ask for things, and I'll eventually filter them into the uh, queue of stuff I'm making, or I'll be like, oh yeah, I need to make this, or oh yeah, that, or
Yeah, yeah,
or I'm tired of
exactly.
making this one thing. Like I've been making a lot more. I've been doing like different kind of bath salt blends just because I'm tired of making the best selling ones all the time.
Yeah, I know that feeling too. You just kind of, you're ready to,
Just
branch
try this
out a
other
bit.
one, please.
Exactly. I get a lot of custom requests too. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, so if anyone comes on, and I'm sure you do too, um, what's on the site, and if there's something that you want that's not there, I'll absolutely, do that a lot. Well, I'd have to say at least 50% of what I make is custom.
Mm,
They don't even go up on
okay.
the site, like I don't have a.
Yeah, usually like when someone requests something like that, like I'll like evaluate it. Like, is this something that I could like sell to other people? Like with the perfume things, I was like,
Yeah,
you know what, people will buy this. So, I had no
yeah,
problem like, kind of creating it as a larger kind of product line and
yeah.
stuff like that. So, gotta do the Barbie Garrett and get back in focus.
I love when she does that.
And one of my cats decided to be like, hey, I hear you're talking.
Wow, yes.
Like they do.
Yep.
So, what is your biggest challenge as a creator?
Oh my goodness, not being
outside
able
of the
to.
post outside of postal delivery issues, because let me tell you, that has
Oh,
been the worst thing ever for the past few months.
yeah, same here. It started at Christmas. I don't think Canada's as bad as the States
Mm.
right now, but for a bit during Christmas, it was awful. Like packages were getting stolen,
It
and
still is here. It's still crazy.
even though you require a signature,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they'll just leave it at the door anyway, and then things get stolen. And I give freebies in my stuff, so I'm I think that's the part that hurts the most, like all the little
Yeah.
gifts and little treasures, because they're like little babies that you're sending out into the world. I don't know about you, but I worry about my packages until I see that they've arrived, and then I could just like relax.
Yeah, I've had quite a few go missing, and sometimes when you're like, "Wow, that was a very large order that went missing," and you try. Let's with here, you try to fill out the claim, the insurance claim thing with the post office. Like, oh, but it was delivered. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
it may have been delivered somewhere, but the person didn't get it.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know how they figure out how much, like, I don't know what it's like in the States, but, I've been refunded very little for
Yeah.
packages that were like way more than what I got refunded for. And of course, I had to, resend.
Yeah.
I'm not going to leave the person hanging, and I don't know how they do that. But anyway, yeah, the postal service is a big challenge. I
Yes.
wish I could just send everything like pure later, or, but not yet. Maybe one day when I have a big factory, maybe I'll be able to
Yeah.
do that. But
Yeah.
um, the biggest challenge I think is time. Time. I want to create so much more, but
Mm-hmm.
when you're a one person operation, taking
Preach to
the
the
photos,
choir.
you have to take the pictures, you have to think of what to say, you have to upload them, you have to create them, ship them, and all this stuff, when you could be making so much more. So I
Yeah,
think,
I finally had to relinquish control of things. So now I have someone who comes and helps like a couple times a week, like just
nice.
bottling, packaging, labeling, and and stuff like that, which does help, because it's sort of like, how much time do I spend, making the thing, and then it's like, so they're or like if I have to make a whole bunch of things all at once for different orders, then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to put this, this in a big vat with a lid on it, put it to the side, take out what I need for this order, make something out, and then I've got stuff everywhere. So having that person be able to come in and like bottle the oils for me and stuff like that really does help.
Oh, absolutely.
And also with some of the online, I have another person helping me with online stuff now too. So.
Oh, that's good.
I've suddenly discovered I have a little bit of free time. It's peculiar. I don't know what to do with it.
You'll figure it out.
I mostly been reading or taking naps.
Oh yeah, reading's nice and naps are nice. Yeah. One day I'll read and have naps. I read at night when everybody's asleep. That's my chance.
Yeah.
So sometimes I
put like audiobooks on or something while I'm working and stuff like that. Or I try to read when I can. So.
Oh, for sure. Awesome.
So I guess, just a little bit, those were kind of the main questions I have, just kind of as creator to creator, that we both make a lot of, we're both kind of in the left-hand path, black magic. We work with the dark goddesses and different demonic gatekeepers and all these entities and stuff like that. I think it's really fascinating. And I know we talked a little bit about this when I was on your channel, about, how you can, we may create, like I have your Lucifer oil, and compared to my Lucifer oil, they're two entirely different oils because they have your energetics. Mine has my energetics in your relationship, and all associations and things like that. I find that's really fascinating. I love working with other, and not have it be kind of like, oh, buy my stuff, I'm better than them, and that kind of you'll see that in other areas, the jealousy and the competitiveness and things like that.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really
and
nice.
I love it. I love that we have similar product, well, the same named products, but they are completely different. It's not like anyone is, we all have something different to bring to the table. So, our experience with Lucifer is going to be different. Like what I think of Lucifer and I don't know how you get your ingredients. Maybe you're like me, a little bit of research, but a lot to do with just that communication. Like, okay, what would you like as an oil?
If it's someone I'm really working with, some of it comes from research, some of it'll come from, sometimes I'll just ask them, they're like, hey, what do you like?
Yeah, exactly.
Or like things that come up, like with Lucifer for me, like roses come up all the time. So obviously when I do a lot with Lucifer, I do things with roses. So, that's part of it in that area when you're working with an entity and creating products around that. It's and then you have your energetics and your working relationship with them, and it's really, it's fascinating. I get I've got one of your Lucifer occasionally likes to go shopping and buy a lot of like, well, I think I have 1 week I had like 3 different Lucifer candles show up. I'm like, hello. Because I got one of yours. I think I got a couple from the Luciferian Apotheca.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm like,
oh yeah, I love shopping at other. Yes. Yeah, I love shopping at other witchy shops too. Like I love that we all support each other, and you get something different, sure, I like to create my own stuff, and for my magic and stuff, most of the time I do like to, it's just been so long I've been doing this that I just like things a certain way. But when it comes to like, bath products and experiencing different oils and stuff like that, or the flying ointment, that you create, like that's amazing. And I love bringing all of that stuff, and Barbie Garrett's different waters and things like that. They're awesome. I love the different energies that you can bring into your practice. And we all have our own gifts and our own energies, and when we're combining all of those to our magic or to help clients or whatever, it's like they get that extra boost, so we all win. It's
absolutely
awesome.
Yeah, because when I first started, like when I started my business, like I was doing a little bit more on the like, aromatherapy and self-care kind of therapeutic side of things. And then, again, it was like, a couple of years ago, I was sitting, I'm like, I need to start making things like, witchy things again and stuff like that. Like it was just kind of sitting there. It was like, kind of, again, put it on my big list of things to do where it sat for a while. And, as I started really getting more into my practice, I was releasing and I was making things for myself. And then I was like, I have access to all these things. I have the knowledge, the know-how, the training, whatnot. I may as well just start, as I'm making things for myself, start releasing them.
Yeah, exactly. And it took off. Like people love your stuff, and that's that's amazing.
Yeah,
and people,
I do miss doing a lot of the like local event, like witchy, alt gothic, vendor events and stuff like that. So my favorite part of it was always running around and buying crap from everyone else.
Nice. I can't wait to do that. So I haven't had that opportunity yet. Like my shop's just a little over. Is it a year? I don't even know if it's been a year. It's not a year yet. So I started last spring. Okay. So I'm a baby shop, and I haven't had that opportunity yet because we're not. I don't know if we're gonna have festivals this summer or not. But in my mind, I'm like ready. I'm ready to be vending at some of these festivals.
I've done a few virtual ones, like, and it's nice, but it's not the same. I like going to the tables and talking to people and meeting people and all that stuff, and
Yeah, and I love to barter with other witches. Like I like to do witchy trades and stuff. Yeah, it's so much fun, and so yeah. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, like I used to see all the others, when I used to go to these festivals in Diagon Alley, it's called, at our campground, and they would all be trading, and like somebody's getting a massage, like they're not at their shop right now because they're getting a massage. Somebody else is filling in.
I'm guilty of that.
But they're trading. Yeah, they're trading that for candles and whatever. So I'm just like, wow,
the barter system's awesome. Yeah, I miss like our pagan pride events and things. And there are some. There's a couple that are doing like limited outdoor things, but I just don't know that I'm comfortable with that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm naturally an introvert, but when there's like an emphasis to avoid crowds, like I tend to listen. So that's just me though.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was the first year I was doing events, like I just was just seeing what stuck, like what events that I did good at and what ones I didn't, and and stuff. And I was like, okay, well we're at this point I'm like, okay, we're just sticking to witchy events and like dark, macabre, do some cool ones in Philly, but nice. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this has been great. I don't know if there's any final thoughts to wrap up, our little journey through, how we create things and the different processes we go through and all that. And it's been really fascinating. And I love talking to you about, I learned some stuff about Reiki and the social work aspect of doing tarot. I'm getting better with tarot. I'm actually working my way through Orly Stewart's tarot course.
Nice.
Which is really nice. Just kind of getting a little more familiar with it and stuff like that. Because for me, like having to remember all the variables for 72 things becomes really complicated. Again, I can remember like all the stuff about like all like the hundreds of herbs and essential oils I have in there. I'm like, you can do this.
Yes, you can. It's just you can totally do it.
Like you can do
when I learned how to do it, when I was being trained, she was like, you see this little booklet that you're reading from that came with your tarot? It's in the garbage now. I'm like, no! And she's like, you are going to meditate with each individual card. You are going to communicate with it. It is a portal. You are going to learn everything you need to know about it. And it's going to be personal to you.
Yeah, I've had trouble. Like, I have a couple tarot books, and there's one I like. I forget what it's called. It's like Tarot for Every Day or something. I'd have to look it up, but it's upstairs. That's the only one that I found that I like because it gives it actually breaks it down in like different, like, okay, this is what this card means, in terms of your spiritual life and in your, like you know, financial things, and in a relationship reading it means this, and in a, you know, health reading it means that. I'm like, that was like the first book that I read that really gave like, you know, a really holistic look at like how each tarot card kind of reads in that sense.
Yeah.
But like
And
some
that's
of them
why
I just picked them
questions,
up, I'm like,
yes, exactly. And that's why questions are important. I will not do general readings anymore.
mm-hmm.
When people are like, just tell me whatever. I used to do those a lot, and it was fun because it was a challenge.
Yeah.
I can't do those. I don't like to do those. It's not
Yeah,
my
it feels
thing.
like you need to target like an area to kind of
Yeah,
go
if you
into.
have a problem you need to
Mm-hmm.
get some solutions for, if you're doing a spell or whatever, that's great. I wanted to ask you something. Do you have I don't know if I asked you this in the last when we were on my channel, but do you have a favorite product that you create?
Oh, favorite product. I think sometimes it shifts around. Like I would have to go by like category of product. I think like my favorite flying ointments, the two I use the most are either the Lilith or the Lucifer ones. I think perfumes. I like the was it the Goddess of Love and War? It's the Astarte perfume I made.
Ooh,
I like that
nice.
one a lot. Um, the bath salts, I'm gonna say I actually like the energy. It's one of my better selling, or probably like in the top 5 of best selling ones. My energy cleansing bath salt. It's got like a nice like citrus and Palo Santo smell to it.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
always down for a good energy cleanse.
And anything. I went through this whole phase where I put way too much Nag Champa, jasmine, and vanilla in everything. So all that stuff was.
I could relate when you get like on this scent or this favorite herb,
Oh, now it's
and
Blue
you're
Lotus.
yeah, I go through things like that too, where there's just this predominant herb that kind of gets put into everything.
Yeah. About a year and a half ago, it was the Nag Champa, jasmine, and yeah, or Nag Champa and gardenia, which I actually really like a lot.
Oh, I love those too. They're amazing. Like I can't blame you there because they go into a lot of my stuff too. Gardenia is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I just remembered one of my challenges, what you had asked that, and it's when people expect a cookie cutter kind of
Yeah.
operation. I can't like of course
I can't cut every bar of soap to be the exact same shape and size. That even with the little like thing that you know just it has little slats and I kind of push the thing through. Still can't get
yeah,
them even.
each thing is unique. Each
Yeah.
thing is its own beautiful creation, and I find when stores, maybe you can relate to this, when stores purchase your products regularly, and if you have to go through a different distributor to get a certain thing and they notice the scent is a little different and things like that, or
Yeah, like
I
there's
don't
certain
know.
things I will only buy from a particular place because that's
Yeah,
the scent I like. Like,
yeah,
yeah, because Nag Champa, I mean, unless you get Champaka Absolute, which is fairly expensive, Nag Champa is always going to be like a fragrance oil. So it's going to be a synthetic. So unless you get like the powder for the like incense and stuff. But,
yeah.
you know, even with that, it's like I get my Nag Champa from Brambleberry. That's the only one I like. I tried Bulk Apothecary. I smelled it. I'm like, this is not Nag Champa. I don't know. It smells nice. I don't know what it is, but
Okay, nice. I've never ordered anything from Brambleberry. I've seen their stuff. They're American, right?
yeah,
So,
they're in
um,
Washington State.
yeah, yeah. But I watch some of their YouTube videos sometimes, and they look like they have a lot of like neat stuff that I
Yeah,
want to get my
they're
hands on.
great. I mean, they've
Yeah,
got a lot of educational stuff. I do buy a fair amount from them. But yeah, sometimes like I mean, a lot of like the challenges I've had in the past year is supply chain issues, like getting the same kind of bottle.
exactly, exactly. Same
You
here.
know, I could like all the bulk places were out of the 8-ounce plastic bottles that I use for bubble bath. Like until recently, I was down to one place.
Yeah.
And right now I'm having trouble with the flask bottles I use for the Spellfire blends. Everyone's out of them.
Yeah.
Like, why?
I know. It's like with the bath salts, I was doing the flip jars that everybody loved, like, and I can't find the flip jars anywhere. And I'm like, I'm sorry. It's just, we can do it this way or that way, but it just happens.
Or like I tend to use like the clear bottles for like I do like those little smudge spray kind of things.
Yeah.
I tend to like to use the clear bottles, but like for the longest time, I could only get like green or blue ones.
Yep.
Where I think you have to make these aesthetic choices. Where like, I don't really want the blue ones, but okay, fine, that's what's available.
I know,
either
it's so
I take
hard.
this off the shelf for 6 months, or just kind of change and adapt. And it's even with finding herbs or essential oils or things like that. It's like you go to order something from the place you ordered it from the last time, and they're out.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the trouble I was having with essential oils. And you get specific scents that it's the same thing, but from a different supplier, and it smells different.
Yeah, it's just
even if it's just a little.
And there's so many variations of essential oils too. Like, how many different kinds of eucalyptus? There's no one eucalyptus essential oil. There's like 450 different like species of eucalyptus. So, and some places, I mean, yes, I mean you can get them cheaper, but you probably are getting things that are adulterated a little bit or not the best quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes like if you lined up 4 bottles of rose oil from 4 different places, they're going to all smell slightly different.
Yes, exactly. And some of the main ones, that's, like you said, you had certain staples, you go through like phases where you have a scent or an herb that is in everything, and then you can't get that anymore from that supplier, and you have to readapt. And sometimes that's hard on people that are expecting something, and I know it's certainly hard on me. So that's one of mine.
Right now, I don't know why, but patchouli leaf herb is impossible. Like,
so patchouli and mugwort.
What's that?
And mugwort for me.
Like, I've been having trouble finding that too, at like all my regular places. I'm like, I found patchouli. It's just 4 times more expensive what I pay per pound.
Yeah.
So, then it's like, okay, well, now do I have to go raise all my prices on, things because I know I had to do that with the spellfires because I couldn't get them in bulk, so they were more expensive.
Yeah.
When you're buying 12 bottles at a time, it's going to be way more expensive than buying 100 at a time.
Yes, exactly. And that's just the reality that we face. And sometimes we have to put prices up. And I know I had to put some prices up on a couple of things, and people were wondering, and I'm like, it's not because I'm trying to be a jerk. It's just, this is what it costs to make it. And yeah, and as soon as it comes down, you'll see that reflected, in the prices as well. But yeah, I hate when you can't get stuff that
I know. It's just
you
like,
love.
Yeah, even sometimes with like the herbs and like basic stuff, like I have the hardest time finding like red or rose petals. Like pink rose, I have like one place I could get pink rose petals from.
Yeah, all this stuff that we used to just take for granted, like it's like mugwort.
I always have like powdered rose petals, but I'm like, I want the actual rose petals. I don't always use powder. Because if you're using like the powdered rose petals in an oil, then your oil gets kind of funky.
Yeah, no, it's not the same thing. No.
Yeah. I mean, in an incense blend, it's fine, but
Yeah. Yeah, I love those little baby like rosebud things. Those are my favorite. I don't know why, but I just think they go into a lot of my stuff because I just love them.
Yeah, it's that's definitely probably between the post office and like supply chain issues, that's probably been the biggest headache of most small businesses over the past year.
Yes, and demand is there. Like everybody's doing online shopping. And, when we can't keep our operation functioning clean because of outside sources, like postal hiccups and stuff like that, like, someone
sometimes
just
I'll have to wait like a month for something to get to me. Like that's coming from one state over, it's like.
It's insane. I know. Oh, well, we just do what we can do. And
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I will tell us where we can find you, and I'll put the links below.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to chat with you again. I'm up to chat with you anytime.
Awesome.